So I was sitting in a calibration session and we were talking about just the high performers and the low performers, who's the best of the best, who's the worst of the worst, what can we do about these things? And many of the high performers being discussed were female, which, is not surprising. Time and time again, I kept hearing their fatal flaw being described as aggressive. They're too aggressive. And at one point we got to a low performing male and the comment was actually made that he's not aggressive enough. And I thought that was really interesting. And I didn't want to be, because me, like I'm always the person that's like, this thing was said. And I was trying to be more like soft about it. So I just said, hey, just let me pause the proceedings for a second. I don't know if anyone else is hearing a theme or a word being used to describe a lot of the women. And thankfully, somebody that was sitting behind me at a different table said, actually, yeah, I was just noticing that too. It feels like we're saying that these women are aggressive. And then a really nice, healthy conversation ensued. But one conversation doesn't change a culture. So I wonder, what are your thoughts on that situation in general? Have you heard that? I mean, I'm sure it's not unique to that company, but yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think, and I just want to bring out that you unconsciously just said, I very softly brought up, right? So like when you were talking about your story, it's like I softly brought it up. Like
Right.
it's almost like a taboo thing that we shouldn't be talking about. And what I will say is in this year that we've had that's been insane, something that I'm very proud of this last year is that we're bringing up topics that makes other people feel uncomfortable. And, we should also do the same for this female male interaction that we're seeing in the
Right.
workplace. I love that you brought it up. Many people there probably wanted to say something and they didn't. And even though you said it softly, it still was brought up. And that's the part where I want to make sure that we don't shy away from situations. But
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's expected for a man to be aggressive. When you think
Yeah.
about what society has built and told us from, the young and the restless on popular TV to, when you see The Office, when you see anything that the cultural things that we learn from, it's okay for a man to come say, you're fine and you're fired and like do all these different things. But when you see women being leaders and strong leaders, you see and I'm bringing popular culture because that's where
Yeah,
we
it's
get
great.
our references from. You see The Devil Wears Prada, and this woman is a
Yeah.
terrible person that throws her coats in someone's desk and keeps walking disregarding humans, right?
Right.
But it's not, and that's where we take us like, oh, that's how I need to be in order to be this female leader, and this is how I need to be in order for me to be a male leader. And then if you are too aggressive and you're presenting male-like qualities versus no, we can be both.
Right.
Men can be extremely sensitive. It's okay. Actually, one of the best male leaders have the sensitivity to see others' perspective and seeing others as human. And I think that the most important quality of any leader and in any person in a job is respect.
Yeah.
Just treat people with respect. And you don't have to be either aggressive nor sensitive to do those things. It is a constant battle that we have to face, and there's going to be, more importantly, we need to talk about this, leaders that do not understand that is, I think, the most important thing. Some leaders do not understand that there's a difference or do not call it out. So it's important for us to constantly bring up, okay, so can we talk about the differences? Why
Yeah.
is John needs to be more aggressive and why does Marie have to be less aggressive? Can we bring examples? And the way you kill that is by, can we talk about specific examples?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people's perceptions are based on their mind, but not really what actually happened. And it's our jobs to constantly balance that scale. And there's a book that says, "It's not what you said; it's how you say it."
Mm-hmm.
So, is the parameter of how we say things is higher for women than for men. Men can say it any way they want. We have to be careful on the way we say it constantly, and it adds an
Yeah.
extra layer of work where some women choose just not to say anything
Yeah.
and just gather all this amazing information that needs to be brought up in the workplace in their mind.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I feel like there's so much fear. Like we talked about earlier, we talked about there's this fear that women have of what other people are going to think about you, and that holds
Yes.
people back. But I think to your point, and all of the examples you mentioned from popular culture. I mean, that's also the way that we're raised and socialized and conditioned.
Yeah,
So,
I call it FOPO, which there was an article from the Harvard Business Review that came out on FOPO, and is a feel of other people's opinions. And it's actually it's a survival mechanism from human behavior, because based on other people's opinions, we land on certain societal classes,
mm,
and it helps us survive in the long term of 2,000 years of human like existence. So for us, fear of other people's opinions matters because it establishes or classes, and it allows us to live longer, and it's something that we already have ingrained in our brain. um, Unfortunately, women have higher FOPO than men. We're constantly, does she like me? Does he like what I say? Does he didn't happen? I always look at the silver lining. The good thing about having FOPO is that you're probably more aware of a room than most male are. So take advantage of that, but do not let the fear of other people's opinions stops you either.
yeah, absolutely.